raise them up to love Hess gas. Then when they get that first car,
get them while they're young.
This is Spectacle Marketing According to Designers. I'm Jen.
And I'm Amy.
So today we want to talk about the glory of spectacle marketing.
We like to call it the Goodyear blimp of it all. And that just means something that you do that's big, that grabs attention, that's unexpected.
Why a blimp for tires? Who knows? Who knows? But they're fluffy, it's airy. I don't know. There's got to be a correlation, but it feels right. If you live in Southern California, you've seen the Goodyear blimp. It docks in Long Beach Airport, and it'll go up and down the freeway, and it just says Goodyear on it. And it's like whenever I think, gosh, I need to go rotate my tires, I need to get new tires, I'm always thinking, I should get some Goodyears. It works. Like, it's subliminal. You can't track an ROI, but millions and millions of people in a huge metropolis and all the surrounding areas see it every day.
When you go outside and you see the blimp, like, I don't care who you are, you're like, there's the blimp, and you will run and find someone to tell. You want to tell someone, and that's the reaction we want when we get the spectacle of it all. If someone's not going, oh my gosh, like, did you see this? It's not spectacle enough.
Yeah.
You haven't thought big enough, or it just wasn't surprising enough. I think that's the cool thing about spectacle marketing is, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be big, but if it's getting someone to go, oh my gosh, did you see? Or like, I have to take a picture, or oh my gosh, I got to see the Goodyear blimp today. Like, that's the win. That's the win. That's how you know it's spectacle.
If you've ever watched one of those like UFO YouTubes where they like track UFOs, you have seen the Goodyear blimp. There's so many videos from Los Angeles where they're like, do you see it in the sky? And it's like, yeah, that's the blimp, people. That's the blimp. But anyways,
Are you new
here? Red Bull they are king when it comes to like stunt marketing and spectacle marketing. Like, and I think it's crazy how good the soapbox derbies do. They'll go into these towns and they'll make these soapbox derby tracks, like race courses with like dangerous courses, like with like big bumps that people go over, and people have to make their own soapboxes and go down, and all the soapboxes are themed. But they had Dale Earnhardt Jr. hosting, and I was like, okay, this is clearly doing way better than I ever imagined if they can get Dale Earnhardt Jr. to host this thing. So anyways, they've always mastered like stunt marketing, and the stunts don't even have to directly, I feel like most brand or like C-suite people who are approving these marketing gimmicks, they always lose the thread because they have to make it so literal to their brand. They're like, but what does it have to do with energy drinks? It's like, it's insane. That's what it has to do with it. Like, Red Bull gives you wings, and like, it just makes sense, people. Just, like loose ties are all we need. But
dream with me here, people. Dream with me.
But you're right that like when in doubt, just make it giant. Like Los Angeles also had the huge Randy's Donuts, which featured in every film in like the 80s.
Can't forget about the big clown liquor for like Clueless. Remember? Circus liquor.
Yeah. And then there's like the big guy on the way to Los Angeles that just has a big hammer, and I think it's for an extermination company. Yeah. Or when in doubt, make it smaller. So with Marvelous Miss Maisel, what season was it that they were launching? And they teamed up with a few different places in Los Angeles, and they brought prices back to 1950s prices. So like it would be in Marvelous Miss Maisel, which is that Prime show. Iconic show. It's very funny. But so the gas was 31 cents. Like back when gas was almost $4 a gallon, which it's already gone up to $5.
If only. Gosh, remember when gas was $4 a gallon? It might actually be around that now. It was so successful. This is a spectacle of it. Everyone was calling their friend. There was a line down, like, because it took place in Santa Monica. So there was a line down miles and miles. The police had to shut it down. It was so successful. And to me, like, if the police have to shut it down, like, you may never be able to do that stunt again, but that's how successful it was.
Yeah. That's like, so we used to work with Beyond Meat, the meatless meat company, and they were located up in El Segundo. There was a super cool team, and they loved to do spectacle branding, but they were also big on spoofing. They were pretty much the Weird Al of plant-based meats. And so we would do their expo booths for a little while, and they did one expo booth at Expo West, which is the big like natural food expo that happens every year. Thousands of people go. It's at the LA Convention Center. It's huge. And they had a huge booth, and they made a knockoff McDonald's one year. Then they made a knockoff In-N-Out, a knockoff Taco Bell. And they pretty much totally like spoofed the branding. Like we had the bell, we had the arrow.
It was just different enough to where it wasn't exact. But the whole point was that people would go try this meal, think that it was real meat, and it could pass for real meat. Like, it was that delicious.
Yeah, that was the whole point. They didn't tell them it was plant-based. Well, they did. I mean, there was like handouts and stuff.
But nobody reads.
No. And this is what we can rely on, the fact that no one will read. But no, it was really fun to do that. And of course, every year they did it, they would get a cease and desist after the first day because it would go viral. And so legal team at In-N-Out or Taco Bell or whatever would contact them at the end of the expo day and be like, shut this down. But that's all they needed, one solid day of buzz.
And then it becomes legendary lore in the industry, and you become like the bad boy of the industry. You know, it's like the cops shut us down. It's like in high school when you had the party that the cops shut down, which we had one. For our like 13th birthday party, we had a barn party at my grandma's farm in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and we invited our whole class and then some of the upper class and some of the class below us. And there was like, it's a small school. Greenwood High School only had like 1,200 kids total, but there was probably 400 kids there, 300 to 400. And we had hay rides, we had bonfires, and it was so loud that the cops came.
Yeah.
People still talk about that to this day, and I think anytime you can have something like that, I mean,
the only thing that beat our barn party was the prom that the high school held in the local cave. So in Bowling Green, Kentucky, they have the largest underground cave network in the United States. It's so cool.
Like cave, baby.
It's gorgeous down there, and it smells like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney, just like that earthy, wet stone smell. But so they had the prom down there, and it rained, and everybody's trucks got like stuck in the mud waiting outside, and it was just like Firefest, like Bowling Green version.
That's hilarious. But no, with that kind of stuff, even I guess that's still spectacle. Firefest was spectacle on the bad side, because there are brands who do it wrong. I feel like a lot of people try to do a stunt, but they don't go all in on like just something interesting or funny. They maybe are a little too trepidatious about it, or they're going too deep cut and they think that people are really paying way more attention than they are.
That's like the KFC. So lately, or more recently, Chick-fil-A beat out KFC as the number one like chicken brand. It's not chicken brand. It's like fast food chicken based chain. Yeah. So Chick-fil-A beat them out. And so KFC released this like gimmick in one of their London locations, and it showed Colonel Sanders, but he was like grimacing, and it said Colonel isn't smiling on every single window. And I was like, I don't get it. And I even follow marketing news. I was like, sorry, what's this? Like, are we in trouble? Like, I'm sorry. And then I was like, oh, it's about them losing their like listing. But then it's like, yeah, but it makes us feel like we're in trouble. He's like, you didn't eat enough chicken. How dare you?
They're like, you're to blame for the market share problem, not us, not our recipe.
You didn't pull your weight.
It is weird when the customer gets blamed, because it's like they're supposed to be the hero of the story, you know? So it's like, even if they are the ones who aren't eating the chicken, it's like, yeah, maybe your recipe's not quite hitting anymore, or I don't know. I feel like there's so many other things that you should do, like give out free chicken to like flood victims in Texas. Like there are so many easy, helpful gimmicks that build so much goodwill. I think a lot of times we talk about the ones that are like funny or like just like, oh my gosh, but there's such good big spectacles. Like remember when Walmart helped the flood victims in North Carolina before anyone could reach them, and then Walmart trucks started showing up? They were the first relief, like major relief that was showing up in a meaningful way that the town could see, and people had videos of Walmart trucks going. People were like yelling on the sidelines. That gave me goosebumps because it reminded me of when the fires in LA. Remember when the prison firefighter units, and everyone was just like yelling and cheering. And if you're in doubt of like, how can we integrate spectacle into our business? First of all, think of how you can help people. Like, that's the easiest thing. It's like when Luka Doncic came to the Lakers. And first of all, whoever is behind his team, I don't know if it was Team Jordan or Jordan Brand, or if it was like his specific team. But the first thing he did when he came to LA was, first of all, put up a picture of Kobe and Gia as his like Twitter header profile. Then he donated to the fire relief funds like $5 million, like because it was already starting, and I think it was like early on in like the fires when the fire started. And he just did so many things. Somebody tagged the Kobe mural and like defaced it and ruined it, and he paid to have it repainted. Like, this guy was just like immediately ingratiating himself in the community.
And then remember, for his first game, he paid and bought out all the parking, so no one had to pay for parking that night. I'm sorry, but that's speaking LA's love language.
Yeah, I think it was just the one on Sepulveda, but still.
It was a few, I think.
It was the people's lots, though. It wasn't the stadium lots. It was like the people's lots.
People who were walking 3-4 blocks. But yeah, no, that whole thing with Luka was amazing. And then they gave out the bumper stickers that was like, "How is my driving to the rim?" So funny.
So good.
Classic.
Oh my gosh, those bumper stickers were amazing. There were so many, and it was like, oh, what was it? It was, oh, you can't spell LA without Luka. Iconic.
Great. Yeah.
Which reminds me of like recently Oasis is back, baby. And I've never been more thrilled. My whole feed is NBA Summer League and trade, talks. And then Oasis, nonstop Liam Gallagher being the most hilarious man on this planet.
Liam's just like off the hip, like just shooting whatever comes into his head, like rapid stream of consciousness. It's so funny. And then the next day he'll be like, "Sorry about that. I went a little far."
It's like, you guys know I love you. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
You can't stay mad at him when he's just like so immediately owns it. Yeah, that was too far. You know, it's like when you and I fight, like we'll get like really heated, and then like literally 10 seconds later, I'm like, sorry. No, but Oasis. So on the trains I guess when they were playing Heaton Park, all the trains going to the show, he recorded the like last stop Heaton Park, like he was like the announcer on the intercom.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well, that's like Noel teamed up with Manchester United. That's their favorite team. And they used his handwriting. They made a font from Noel Gallagher's handwriting and used it on the back of the jerseys and all that. It kind of looks like Comic Sans, but it doesn't matter. But that's kind of like, so minor league baseball. If any of you need something to watch on Netflix, look up The Battered Bastards of Baseball. So Kurt Russell, public treasure.
Gorgeous.
If you didn't know, he was the voice of the Hound in Fox of the Hound as a kid. Yeah. Yes. So also, he's been doing it since he was young. But anyways, Kurt Russell, he played minor league baseball. His dad, Bing Russell, was like another Hollywood actor. Kurt Russell was interviewed and said, "My dad had been shot and killed about 100 times on Bonanza." So he was like a recurring role and would like get killed like constantly. But his dad grew up as a ball boy for the New York Yankees, like during the heyday when all of the biggest stars were playing.
Like Babe Ruth?
I think so. I don't follow baseball much, but anyway, so he was so in love with the game. He was kind of getting out of Hollywood, and Kurt was like, "Man, my dad's so depressed. We got to get him a hobby." And he was like, "Dad, we should buy a minor league baseball team, or not a minor league baseball team, an independent like AAA team." And so they bought the Portland Mavericks, and it was this independent baseball team. It was totally floundering, last in the league or something. And Bing, being the show person that he is, because he had literally just drove out with his family to LA and just like was walking around and being completely charismatic and became an actor because just charisma. That's how you used to do it in the 50s, you know? And so he did the same thing up in Portland. He turned the game into a total spectacle, and they would do these like themed nights, and he would give people like he would recognize people's strengths. Like he's pretty much the original Billy Bean. You know Billy Bean from Moneyball, like about the A's manager who like knew how to pick people for talent. So they put out an open call for baseball tryouts to join this team, which was unheard of for like everyone's like, "You're just going to get a bunch of yahoos." People came from across the United States because they just love playing baseball, and they joined, and he would figure out what their unique personality trait was and then make like kind of like pretty much like a caricature for them to play. And so there was this guy, Joe Garza, who wasn't really good, but was just like a total ham. And whenever they were about to sweep a team, Bing gave him a broom, and he would get him up on the dugout stand, and he would just start like sweeping, and the crowd would just lose their minds because no one had ever seen anyone use props or anything. Everyone started bringing their own brooms to the games. It turned into a total, just like, they were the original Savannah Bananas pretty much.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and it's like, who would know better than the Hollywood guys? Like, what's entertainment? I think that's what people forget a lot. That's what TikTok has been teaching everyone. It's like, yes, like you are trying to sell to someone and you're trying to say like, you need this, right? We're fulfilling a need, but it's also like, it's also entertainment. It's also why like comedic commercials are always going to be the most memorable. It's entertainment.
It is interesting. Yeah, sports get it right. Like, okay, so John Oliver did a whole episode on how minor league baseball has now turned into this amazing spectacle. And the Savannah Bananas are not in minor league baseball, I don't think, but they kind of rekindled this whole Bing I keep wanting to say Bing Crosby. It's definitely Bing Russell. This whole Bing Russell like idea of baseball being just fun. And the Savannah Bananas have proven it because like their merch sells out. They're making more on merch and tickets than they ever have just because it's so fun and just off the wall. Well, minor league baseball took note and a ton of minor league teams are rebranding. And John Oliver did this whole show on it. And like one of these teams, they have a sponsorship of Roto-Rooter, you know, like the people who like take a metal coil and like, you know, drill when your pipes get backed up, your like sewage pipes. So Roto-Rooter bought out a section of their minor league stadium and they call it the toilet section, I think. The
toilet row. It's toilet row.
And it's toilets as seats, and people lose their mind for this VIP toilet seat section. It is hilarious, but it's like, that's funny. Like, yeah, of course you want to pay to sit there. It's just free, or even better to gift it to someone so that they have to sit there.
It's kind of, yeah, it's like, it's so smart to say like, who are the like jokesters and the kind of loud, like really intense fans that we can get all in one section to make this like the section that just is so loud and so intimidating when other teams come in, right? It's like, because Steve Ballmer tried to do that with the Clippers. It was like, I think they called it the wall, and it's right behind the opponent's rim, so that like when they're shooting free throws, it's like the wall is supposed to be noisy, and if you get seats there, you're supposed to be loud, you're supposed to bring it. Like there's something to that. It's like, how can we collect all the most obnoxious of our fans and put them to good use? And that was me. I was such a yeller. I was such an annoying fan when I was like younger. Now I'm more respectful of the people around me. You have to be respectful.
You must be respectful. Speaking of like interesting sponsorships, Waste Management becoming the sponsor of that Phoenix golf tournament.
The Phoenix Open is how it started, and it started in like the 1920s, and it was just like your average like business people starting a golf tournament at the local golf club. Like it was pretty standard fare. But then in 2012, I want to say, the Waste Management became the sponsor, and that's when it became I think they call it the People's Tournament now, which is just amazing. It draws the hugest crowds, and if I had to explain it to you, it's like Happy Gilmore the movie as a golf tournament. So, okay, they have like the 16th hole, I think is the thing. And it's just like in Happy Gilmore where they've got stadium seating. It's more like a Serbian basketball game, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, search that. It's more like a Serbian basketball game. It's loud, it's noisy, fans can boo, they cheer. The players interact with fans. And this is a PGA level, like,
tour.
Yeah, tour spot. So it's like big golfers are there, and you can just like razz the crowd, they can razz you, and it's super loud, and it's super everything that's not what you think of when you think of golf. And I think that's why it's become so popular, is people started seeing all these antics on like TikTok and social media.
Well, recently one of the New York City FC's football clubs just did like a giant blow up pigeon, because you know pigeon is the city bird of New York City, a giant pigeon with the FC branding on it, and they just like tooled it around the harbor, you know, which is quite funny too. I feel like sports, like they easily lean into this stuff, and people just lose their mind for teams, so it makes sense. But brands who do it and capitalize on it, that's to me is more impressive, because there's more on the line obviously, but there's also so much more to win, because you know, we've talked about it before, like all these celebrities being used for brand endorsements, and you can't remember what celebrity goes with what brand because it doesn't make any sense, or it's just not leaving an impression. So there's this email I read. I'll put the logo up because I'm forgetting the name of it. And they were like, which one's more powerful? Mascots, brand mascots, like the Gecko Geico, or, you know, Colonel Sanders, or brand celebs, like personalities, like endorsed, you know, celebrities. And it was like hands down Mascots won, because the mascots are very unique to these products. It's not just like throwing Shaq at it, which we can't remember what Shaq's for anymore. He's for everything.
Weirdly, I can remember everything Shaq's for, but I can't remember one thing Matthew McConaughey is for. He's becoming the new Kristen Bell Shaq, who will just take any endorsement. But Shaq, I know, he's the general. He's the people's, because he does the general and he does Carnival Cruises.
He did HP one time. I'm like, HP printers? Like,
what's the I know we said that there can be a loose tie, but there should be some tie.
I think it's just, they're like, you know what we'll do? We'll just find the most popular person and just stick it on it. It's like, there has to be a little bit more. Like the fact that they got Ben Affleck to do Duncan along with Casey, that's amazing. He's from that area. He knows how to turn up the Boston when he needs to. Like, they had him, manning the window at a Dunkin', like actually serving people on that commercial, and they actually did it as a stunt. Like, that to me is hilarious, and it's a great spectacle because he's from that area. He's so proud of it, So you gotta use your celebrities well. If you're gonna pay him that much, like, use them well.
What are they doing with PayPal with Will Ferrell? What a waste! What an absolute waste!
I think the weirdest thing is that he is Will Ferrell. He should have created a caricature. He is a man of characters. He doesn't really play himself. One time at the Lakers game, he played one of the guys in the maroon suits that do the security. Like, he had a maroon suit on and was like running security, which was funny. But yeah, he needs a gimmick. You can't just put Will Ferrell as himself in a commercial. It's probably his worst nightmare. That's what he talks to his therapist about, is being himself, I'm sure.
A caricature that I love that I would say is a mascot, tell me what you think, is Mayhem from Allstate. Mayhem from Allstate, first of all, attracted to him. Don't know why.
The Beaver King.
Don't know why. Liz Lemon's loser boyfriend, but love that man. Only as Mayhem, weirdly. This is a reflection on myself. Mayhem from Allstate is so funny. It's such a perfect mascot. I do think he's a mascot because he's just famous enough to where you're like, that guy, like, I know him, and it kind of makes you take note, but it's like they actually had enough money left over to pay writers for a good script. That went on for so long because that that setup, that punchline is endlessly funny.
Mm-hmm. I really like it when small businesses attempt to make these spectacles happen. So the thermometer in Baker, California, right?
World's largest thermometer right out here, just near Death Valley. And apparently it was built in 1990 by a guy who had a Big Buns. Ooh, is that right? That sounds wrong. Big Buns restaurant. It was like a burger joint, but it's not Big Boys. It's like it's kind of
Bun Boy.
I've had all of my drink.
We blame Esther.
We blame Esther rum.
Our friends made their own rum. They're making a rum. That's amazing.
We have great friends.
They sent us some, we're trying it, and I have to say it goes down smooth. It's really nice. So, cheers.
But anyway, this guy owned a Bun Boy restaurant. And the crazy thing to me looking back on this is, was it one restaurant? Just one location? Out on, gosh, what is that highway? Because it's like when you're driving to Vegas, you can kind of go back towards Southern California through Death Valley if you want to. And I've driven by this thermometer, and every time I drive by, I have to take a picture. I love the world's largest thermometer. It is such an amazing roadside attraction. It's totally leaning into the blimp of it all. So this guy who owned this restaurant, they were seeing a lot less traffic and things like that. And they were like, how do we make this like more of a destination? Someplace that you go slightly off your path to like get to where you need to go. So he decided, I'm going to build the world's largest thermometer. And now what does that have to do with burgers? They are so close to Death Valley. That's what it has to do with burgers. It's not really, I love when people think outside of just like, what's my thing? Just like we were talking about, it's like, what's interesting about this area? It's like celebrating your community. I think that's just an equally as important thing. So he built the world's largest thermometer. Guess how much it cost?
$200,000.
$700,000 in 1990. How much do you want to know? Do you want to guess how much it is in today's money?
Like $2 million.
$1.7 million. And I think it fell into disrepair because apparently the electric bills that got up to like in 2012, $8,000 a month was what the lore is. This is the lore, internet lore.
They need to get some. So you know what they need? Their spectacle needs a sponsor, a solar sponsor. They need to hook up with that. I don't know if you all have seen this, but in the desert on the way to Vegas, again, there's this giant solar farm, but it's got this like Mordor tower. Is it Mordor? Yeah, that
like
has
Mordor.
Mixed with the gray tower. Anyways, they need to get a solar panel company to fix up the thermometer. That would be a great double win. Anytime you can do something that's just like gives people a little sense of wonder and awe, it's like, why not? We were just commiserating because our local Italian restaurant that's run by this Argentinian family. So for years, their main logo was a photo of the owner's, I'm guessing it was the owner's child as a baby. And the photo was definitely from the 80s. And it was like, and we have to give credit where credit's due. It's called the Pasta Connection in Costa Mesa. And the baby, or he's like 1 or 2, has a plate of spaghetti with red sauce drip like on his head with the sauce dripping down, and the baby's like, like crying, right? And that was the logo, a photo. Like you can't get that embroidered. Like this is like a lesson in why vector logos are important, but still doesn't matter. It was effective. It doesn't matter if you can embroider it. So anyways, they had this hilarious sign for years, and we just drove by the other day and they just replaced it with like a normal, just like a font. And I was like, ugh, how tragic, you know, because that was so hilarious to me. There's that one. And then there's also the surfing mattress guy. And we were like, I'm sorry, but I trust that man with his Hawaiian, his like Tommy Bahama shirt on. And we were like, I just trust that man is going to get me a good deal on a mattress.
There is no one chiller that you can trust more than a surfer. Like when you go down to San Onofre or Trestles or wherever and you set up your little beach spot for the day and you say, I'm going to go play some smash ball or I'm going to go get in the waves, and you need to leave all your stuff and your wallet and all of your personal items on the blanket, you never have to worry when there's surfers around.
Another one that I liked spectacle marketing wise, which I guess this is more spectacle packaging. So Coors, so they did these Christmas ornaments where they were cans in the shape of ball ornaments. Like, and
you could just,
because it was just a can. It was just a can, yeah. And
how is the weight of a Douglas fir supporting a full can of beer?
Well, not your Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but a good, hearty, American pine can probably, someone from the Coors, Colorado Valley could probably support that kind of a weight.
No, there's no way. It was somebody, we're going to have to fact check this after and put there's going to be a disclaimer that goes right here. Remember Hess, the gas stations that we had in Syracuse growing up, Syracuse, New York? Every year they would release, and I think about this all the time, every year they would release a toy for kids. And back in the day, the original owner of Hess, he had a bunch of grandkids, and he just always wanted to do something fun for the holidays. You know, so he would do Hess trucks, which is actually ingenious. This is actually very direct marketing.
Yeah.
Raise them up to love Hess gas. Then when they get that first car,
get them while they're young.
Get them hooked. And
hooked on that sweet gasoline. Nothing smells better than the fumes at the gas station. It's like, are you that person or aren't you? There's a few people who really, it's like people who like cilantro, people don't.
But yeah, but I think that's so clever, and it's such like it's a tying it to also like the feeling of Christmas and everyone's happy. You have the endorphins going. I feel like you're tying it to those good feelings, just like Coca-Cola. This isn't even spectacle now. This is just like, you know, how can you like ride on the coattails of somebody else's success? I guess that's just good partnerships.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's like, we were thinking, so we're doing our book re-release soon. Like we're going to be relaunching Freelance and Business and stuff. And we're like, what could we?
Second edition, revised and updated, tons of new content. It's going to be great.
It's going to be big. So we were like, what could we do? And it was your idea. Like, we should do a spectacle. And I was like, yes. And you were like, what if we did one of those? So by us at the beach, if you go to Newport or Huntington and you're sitting at the beach on a Sunday and it's summer, high season, you will see little biplanes with like, you know, like the kind
banners.
With banners behind it. But it goes to something that you can't really track the results of most of these kinds of initiatives that we're talking about. We're talking about in-person experiences with fans. That's kind of like you were saying about the All-American Rejects. Like people who do these kind of in-person events are investing in the community in like small like group settings, but then the knock-on effect is so real.
Yeah, the All-American Rejects recently, they were putting out their first album in like 13 years, their first full album. And so they're like, we got to do something big. And they were also just realizing, I think everyone is kind of feeling that thing of like, how do we make any kind of impact on social media? There's so many people on there. It's so hard to make any kind of dent, and just kind of feeling overwhelmed and missing like in-person connection. And so instead of just whining about it, like we all do, going on TikTok and whining about it, they were like, let's do house shows. We miss house shows. Let's do house shows. Like, let's do it. And so they just started. First, it started in, I remember seeing the first one in Southern California pop up at my feed and thinking, they just played a small house show to like, it only looked like 45 people. And so it started like that. And then it was like, do you want us to come play your house party? Basically just drop RSVP in the comments and we'll DM you. So then they got this flood of like requests for like, come to my place. And you basically just had to have like a space that they could play in and then like have like a decent, I think like a decent community size, because like they went to a farm in Iowa, and like I think the fun part was too is like you had to sign up to, I think it was like either their email newsletter or their like text chain, and so they were capturing like their audience, but it was like basically you have to sign up and then we'll give you like the secret location like 3 hours before.
That's fun. And then they played someone's graduation party, right?
Oh,
which is hilarious. Like, that's just amazing. Like, a band that used to be top of the charts in like 2010, like playing your graduation party, you know? That's amazing. But yeah.
And they were, I mean, gosh, they were on like CBS Morning News. Like everybody took note because I think everybody was craving that in-person community.
Yeah.
And they found a way to do it in a really interesting way. And I've heard a lot of people like jumping on that trend and riffing and like, we're going to do house shows. Like it's definitely a revival of like in person. And I forgot what I was reading the other day, but they were talking, oh, it was that guy that you like, the Australian guy who was always doing like brand tips and stuff.
I love him.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but we'll put the link here. But he was talking about how like the new kind of like not differentiator, but like the new status symbol is like in real life, because it's the only, everything can be faked and kind of like manipulated, yeah, online. And it's like now the new status, and not even in a way that's like just you're rich, just like a status of like, I'm authentically doing this thing, or I'm authentically here, or like just uniqueness of you being who you are where you live in your own like everyday life is like the new thing.
Well, I think it's kind of almost like a backlash to like brands like kind of like sucking their customers for user generated content, just like give us more, show us what you're doing. It's like, give us something, show us something that makes us excited. Like, why do we have to do all, do you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like at some point brands have to give back a little, and you know, bands like that, or like, you know, companies that do something fun where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so, like, give us something to talk about. Like, don't just like expect us to freaking tag you, and I don't know, you know?
I agree. It reminds me of the spectacle of Lululemon. Remember when all the dupes were all over TikTok? All these Lululemon dupes, and everyone was calling it just that. They were using Lululemon's name, stolen valor, and selling these like knockoff pants. Well, Lululemon had this day where you could come into their store, bring your dupes, and they would give you a free pair of Lululemons.
Dang.
And it was like huge, massive success.
Yeah.
And it was like basically to prove like ours are actually better.
And then when they're in there, you're hoping obviously they're just going to pick something else up too.
And I forgot, I actually read a stat the other day. I was sharing it with one of our clients when we were making merch, but it's like apparently if you give away your merch to somebody, they are 80% more likely to remember you because it's something that they're keeping. It was something insane. It was like 80%.
I mean, we are almost fully clothed by our friends' brands though. Like all of our friends will send us like from their studios or their companies like free merch, you know, and that's like almost all I wear every day, except when I have to dress up for a meeting and look like a grown adult who can be trusted. But
trusted with big budgets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even, you know, Severance and Barbie, like so many people are doing these, like Severance did, they pretty much put up a glass case in Grand Central Station, was it? And they had them just working, like pretty much it was like live art installation of them just working and not really doing anything interesting, just working in this area for about like a few hours. And Ben Stiller was there, you know, the director, and people could just like film them. And it was just like so cool.
It was all over social media. I remember everyone was sharing it and everyone was talking about it and buzzing. And it's kind of like what Evita's doing right now. I forgot the girl's name. She was in Snow White or whatever. Oh, right. She has a really good voice. But she's doing the London, they've just brought Evita back, which... exciting. But she's doing the Don't Cry for Me Argentina on a real balcony to people just walking by on their version of like Broadway.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're drawing like 200 people who get to see it for free. It's during the performance and they're videotaping it. Like obviously for people who paid for tickets, but then people outside are just like coming and camping out waiting for her to come outside and sing Don't Cry for Me Argentina live to the crowd.
That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of like when the Beatles did that performance on the roof. Okay, and by the way, if you need to be inspired about just making something, go watch Get Back on Disney, Hulu, all of the ones that are combined now. But it's this documentary about how that final album, Let It Be, was made. And they just sat in a room together and just like, you know, futzed around and just played and tried things. Now, of course, they all on their own time were doing their own stuff and coming up with ideas. It's not like they just came in there and wung it with no previous experience. They had been playing together.
Although it did really feel like Paul was the main one being like, is anyone gonna, are we doing this? Are we doing this? Like, it was so funny.
Yeah, he's definitely the type A of the group. Yeah. But anyways.
You could understand why he like quickly went out and made the Wings album that he did.
Yeah, he's just like flowing with ideas. But no, it was just so cool to see like people who are so used to each other just like being able to just sit in a room and just make something. So inspiring.
And the spectacle of just being like, and then we'll just play this show on the roof and like whoever hears it, cool. And it's like, if you were there, you were there. I think that's part of the spectacle that you have to remember. If your boss is saying like, well, how do we know people will see it? Or like, what if, you know, like it's not going to be big enough. It's not going to be like, it doesn't reach a broad enough audience. The point is that you're supposed to feel like you missed out. It's supposed to make people feel FOMO. It's supposed to make you feel like, I wish I was there. I can't believe only 100 people that day saw that. Yeah. And you're looking on TikTok to find footage and you're just like, I can't wait till I catch something like this in real life.
Yeah.
That's part of it. 100%.
So by now we've all heard about the Cracker Barrel debacle. They released the new logo. It was really clean and simple. They removed the old dude. They removed a lot of the ornamentation. And I mean, the political stuff aside, which is just kind of noise, there was a lot of loyal fans who grew up with the Cracker Barrel, and they were just like, kind of like, it was a bummer to see how simple it got, because so much of what Cracker Barrel is just more is more, antiques, like clutter. And so to declutter the logo just felt kind of untrue to the whole vibe. So when this happened, Aim, you were like, oh, they shouldn't have just capitulated and just said, oh, sorry, we'll just bring you back the old stuff. Like, we're sorry. Because that made it seem like, oh, our brand team doesn't know anything about you. They don't know anything about us. And it really, I think, lost a lot of brand trust in that, you know, that brand sense of self. And you were like, they should have turned it into a gimmick, a marketing gimmick. And this kid on TikTok, here's his TikTok profile. He had the same idea, except he executed a whole spec campaign based around this idea, and he did such a good job. So his idea was he would do a wanted poster where it's like old-timey poster, where is the old dude? And it would show the old logo. And then he would reveal, after all this like out-of-home marketing, he would reveal that the old guy had just been on vacation. And then he would release a line of Cracker Barrel themed vacation merch. So like a t-shirt that kind of has that Destin, Florida, like airbrush boardwalk style vibe. And then like a Bikini Barrel, board shorts and bikini, an old towel that says, after this, we're going to Cracker Barrel. And then they would re-release the old logo again. And none would be the wiser. Like, no one would have noticed. They would have just thought it was a really clever publicity stunt.
So yeah, we want to hear, what's your favorite spectacle branding moment? What's your favorite spectacle advertising moment?
That was spectacle marketing according to designers, and we will see you next time.